All right. Hey, everybody. J-Dog back here in the saddle again after Memorial Day weekend madness. Got another FishPod Network podcast for you here. I had Craig McMicken in, and he's from Danco, actually one of our sponsors. Fine Danco pliers. These pink ones are Paul's. These are his favorite. But anyways, wow. You know what? Every once in a while, I think you have to remind yourself why you don't do certain things. And this weekend was a perfect example of why I don't go out on holiday weekends. It was a madhouse. I'll save you guys all the stories, except for one. You know, we had a late start getting out on Saturday morning. We go back in some backwater area. Not having a whole lot of luck. Bunch of little stuff. I caught fish all day. I don't know about the other people I was with, but I did well. For the little ones, anyway. So anyways, we come out, and you come out of this backwater area, and you can see from the Skyway all the way to Egmont. Just wide open, beautiful skies. And when I say it was 1,000 boats, I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen. 1,000 boats out there easily. Just, I felt guilty at one point. I felt like, you know what? I'm a part of the problem right now. I shouldn't even be out here. What am I doing? And just when I thought it couldn't be any more crowded, like this is as bad as it gets. The water's churned up. There's people everywhere. Yahoos to the left, yahoos to the right. And right then I hear it coming. You look up, and there's one of those guys with the parachute and the fan attached to his back, just cruising along, boom, goes buzzing right overhead. That was it for me. I was done right then and there. It was time to go home. But anyways, made it home alive. Caught a couple nice fish, couple nice snook. You know what? Hans even caught some fish over the weekend too, and he's got some videos up. We're gonna have that on the website here soon and on Facebook. Believe you can see one of them right now on Instagram, but we'll get that up too. So anyways, it was a crazy weekend. There were so many people out. I'm never doing that again. For those of you who do it every year, whoo, boy, you are a better man than me, or woman, whatever. And I'm a hell of a woman. All right, folks, we had Craig McMicken in here, and he works for Danco now. And you can find him at Backwater Cartel on Instagram. Got quite the following, and it's a great feed. Craig was a great guy, too. We had a good time here hanging out. He did a FishPod TV with us last week. You can go and see that on fishpodnetwork.com. And you can find all of these podcasts on fishpodnetwork.com, but also the audio version you can find on Google Play, Stitcher, and iTunes. So make sure you check that out. Give us a like, a subscribe. And without further ado, please welcome Craig McMicken. Okay, good. I figured we'd just start off, and I think your story is really interesting because you're like me in a lot of ways, you know, a working man, and then you had to find your way into the business and everything. So first, what I'd like to do a lot when I have people come in is, how did you get started with fishing? Was it something that you did with your family, or was
I got started fishing with my grandfather and my father. You know, when I was just a little kid, I always wanted to go on the boat with Grandpa, and Grandpa said, when you can cast your bait into a bucket at 20 feet 5 times in a row, I'll take you fishing. So I practiced and I was 4.5 years old, and I finally did it.
That's
I went
awesome.
out on the boat. So we had a little 14-foot Boston whaler with a 70 on it. That thing would roll.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, see, I come from a family that, my grandparents they loved to fish and everything, but they lived in Indiana. I lived down here. My parents weren't really outdoorsy at all, so I always fished a little bit as a kid and everything with friends and stuff. I didn't really get serious about it until I got older, so I always felt like I was kind of behind all you guys a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you had the benefit of growing up with it and everything, you know, so.
Well, and I started out in freshwater. My grandparents, you know, they lived in Clewiston on the Rim Canal, and I started out fishing for bluegill and bass, and then, slowly but surely worked my way into saltwater, and definitely have, excelled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd say so. Your Instagram feed speaks for itself on that there. So, I just thought it was really cool that, like myself, I've been a painting contractor my whole life,
right.
And I always worked hard doing that. And then, like I was saying earlier, just one day I heard somebody say, the only difference between you and that guy that's doing what he wants to do is that guy went and did it. He busted his butt and he went out there and made it happen. And I thought it was pretty interesting. For you just with the advent of social media, kind of opened up doors for people who were savvy enough to take advantage of it, like yourself. And
I was a heavy equipment mechanic for many years, and I decided that I wanted to do something different. And I love fishing; that's my passion.
Right.
So I created an Instagram, and I had a personal Facebook page, anyways. But I created an Instagram, Backwater Cartel, and back in 2014, and just always posted positive content. And good quality pictures, especially over the last 2.5 years or so.
Yeah, you've been killing it.
Yeah, my fishing partner's a photographer, so that helps a lot.
That helps a lot, man.
So
I struggle with that. I'm usually out fishing with Hans, and as you can see from my short video earlier, that
your 14 seconds of fame that Hans gave you.
Right. So, I thought that was really cool, and you're not the first guy I talked to. I had Nathan Hernandez in from Miami, and he's from Fishing Kings. Same thing, he built up a name through social media,
right.
And just that hustle, man, always being there. Is it something that you set out every day, say, well, I'm going to do so much on Instagram, or is it just when the time arises where you get a chance? Or?
I just try to be consistent.
Right.
I try to do 2 or 3 posts a week, and change it up a little bit. I've even had people say, well, you post too many pictures with redfish. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I caught them and I'm going to show them off.
Yeah.
So, and
who doesn't like hunting down redfish,
right.
man? What's wrong with you?
I practice catch and release, religiously.
Yeah.
That to me, our fishery in Fort Myers is suffering so bad right now that if you're not catching and releasing the fish, all you're doing is taking away from the generations in the future that, aren't going to have the fish that we have to catch.
Yeah.
And, I'm really, passionate about that.
Yeah, a conservationist when it comes to everything. I think people don't understand how much, because I hear it all the time too. You shouldn't be out fishing. You hear the PETA people and all that kind of stuff. But if it wasn't for us, the conservation just wouldn't be there. Period.
Right. Right.
If the money we pay in for our licenses, and then people that are passionate like yourself, and I'm the same way when it comes to conserving fish and the fishery and everything, and the health of our environment and everything. I don't think people realize how much it depends on us as fishermen.
Oh, absolutely. It's if we didn't practice, catch and release, and and even the people that catch fish, if you keep fish in moderation, then you're not hurting anything.
Sure.
Because they're going to grow, and you should eat them if you want to eat them, but don't over.
You don't have to keep everything.
Yeah, you don't have to keep everything you catch.
Yeah.
Just because your limit is 5 trout and 1 over 20 inches, that doesn't mean you keep that. Like if I'm going to keep a redfish, which I don't, but if somebody that I'm with wants to keep one, slots 18 to 27, go 22 to 24.
Yeah, which is generally what you're going to catch mostly of anyways. I mean,
that might be what you catch.
Well, I don't know. I had a pretty good one there the other day. I catch.
But another thing that a lot of people don't understand is being like who I am. You have to stay humble.
Yeah.
Humbleism goes a long way. I'm nobody special. I get up and go to work every day, and I fish for fun, and I figured out how to market myself, and I've ended up with a fantastic job in the fishing industry.
Yeah,
I've been very blessed.
Yeah, Danco is a very good company, one of our sponsors. So,
yep. Yeah, Danco pliers. Show off these little pink guys.
Yeah, you pick the pink ones. Look at you go.
Yeah,
totally secure.
And then you've got stuff like these water drop beefcakes right here. These things are fantastic. So these are really.
You said
nice.
You prefer those shorty ones, huh?
I like the short ones because most of the fish that I catch aren't hooked deep. And to me, I'm a big guy. So, I can put a lot of force on things that, other people probably wouldn't do. And not saying that you would ever have an issue out of these, because you shouldn't, as long as you don't.
I never do. Those are the same kind I use all the time. So.
Yeah, and I
have a couple pair. But
I think it's really more just personal preference.
Yeah.
So.
We were talking earlier. We just did a FishPod TV, so that's why I keep referring to folks. We were talking about getting out and fishing, what was working and everything right now. We're towards the end of May right now.
Yeah.
And I know you paddleboard and fish a lot.
Yeah.
And so we're both inshore guys, and I like to sight fish too. I use a lot of artificials. And the fish I was talking about earlier, I caught a couple reds with a gulp on a jig.
Yeah, what color gulp?
White.
White?
Yep, that's actually my go-to color. I like white a lot.
I like throwing white for juvenile tarpon.
Oh, really?
Juvenile tarpon love a white gulp.
Yeah.
I use molting or natural if I'm fishing for redfish or trout or snook, but I do throw white for the tarpon for sure.
I use it a lot. My paddle, I like that, and then that lime green. Like if I can have a white belly with lime green on top, for some reason, it works for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that one a lot. The paddle tails I use a lot of those. The DOAs or the Z-Mans.
Yeah, I like to throw a lot of natural colors, molting and things like that, or what I prefer.
Sure.
It's and then I throw a lot of mirrodines.
Yeah.
Mirrodines or top dogs and things like that. I live by mirror lure when it comes to a hard bait for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely in my. I always have some every time I go out too. It's you know what though. I used to carry so much tackle with me. I've really slimmed down lately, man. I bring a lot less with me now. I bring like key things that I'll have a variety of lures to use, of course, but I don't feel the need to have that giant tackle box anymore. I really slimmed it down. Do you still carry a lot of stuff?
No, I can fit everything in a regular sandwich size Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
I take, 2 different color mirrodines, and maybe 3 if I go with an XL, but normally just a standard size mirrodine in 2 different colors. And then I take, I can take 3 or 4 soft plastics with some 4/0 grip pin hooks.
Right.
And, weighted 1/8 ounce and, a top water, and that's all I need.
Yeah.
So.
What's funny is I go out and I fish with some other people, some of the guys, Team Sea Mule being some of them. Those fellas, man, they bring this giant bags full of tackle, and there's so much stuff, man. And I made the mistake one time. I brought my bag, which was giant,
Right.
there, and then we had 3 gigantic tackle bags, and we fished live bait all day. I think we retied maybe 5 times each.
Right.
Used the same stuff over and over. It was just a waste to even have half that stuff there.
Yeah,
man.
if you're going to live bait fish, all you need is a spool, a leader, and some circle hooks.
Yeah,
it's all done.
I talked about it all day too at nauseum. I'm like, man, why do we have all this stuff, man? That was when I started slimming down.
We would have so much more room on the boat if we didn't have all these bags.
Yeah. But you know what? I like the way that you were talking about doing it with the Sea Mule wade cart. And,
yeah.
I pulled it behind me on the kayak, and it really doesn't bother me that much. I thought it might have a lot of drag to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes it up a little bit, but it's not bad. But I do like the idea of being able to put it on top like you're doing, and you're using it to sit down on it, right?
Yeah.
You put the bucket in the bucket area.
Yeah. If I want to sit down, I don't like to sit very much. I've got a pretty bad.
Well, you want to see too.
I got a bad back.
Yeah, I do too.
So, that's why. That's the sole reason why I don't kayak fish at all ever.
Yeah. It's rough sometimes, man. You know what I do a lot though is I'll paddle out to a general area that I want to be, and I wade fish a lot. I get out and I walk around. Now that I have a Sea Mule, I drag that around with me, or it used to be the kayak.
I don't wade fish in anything that's over like knee deep.
No.
We got way too many bull sharks.
Yeah. Oh, we got plenty of sharks down here, but generally I don't have that many problems. You guys got that fishery's always going off down there, so I imagine it's probably just.
I was fishing a tournament one time and waded out on this flat to a school of redfish. I was waiting on them to come by, and I caught a nice trout in the meantime, so I put him in my net, put my net between my legs, and right about the time the school of redfish showed up, where I could get a good cast in on them, a bull shark came by and ate the trout and the net.
Oh,
so
that's
and
rough.
that was the end of me wade fishing over my knees.
Yeah. Did you have that pretty close up to you?
Yeah. I felt it.
Yeah, that's scary, man. I've had some close encounters. I had a friend of mine years ago, and we were wade fishing, and now we're about up to here.
Yeah, no,
and
not me.
and very far from shore, probably a good 150 yards away from shore. And but the one good thing that he did, he had a rope around him,
Right.
which went back about 6 feet, and then he had the stringer on a float
Right.
back away from him. And when you know it, man, a little bit later, you can feel that tug. He just let the line
Let
go.
it go.
Like, there you go, buddy. It's all you, man.
Yeah.
And that was I don't go that deep anymore.
No way. I went that deep last week in Indian River with Mitch from Danco. We wade fished one morning, and I got to tell you, I was not comfortable at all.
I don't mind during the day so much, but there's those people that get out there in the middle of the night, and I'm like, oh, man.
This
I don't
was
know,
right
man.
at, like, it was still dark when we walked in the water, and I'm like,
Not for me. I had a baby manatee about scare me to death one time, man. I go and I'm going to launch my John boat. This was years and years ago. And there's just enough light from the bridge a little ways off that I can see the top of the water, right? So I can see some redfish are pushing. It's pretty close to sunup. It's going to probably 20 minutes, it'll be sunup. So I see them pushing. I run, man. I wait out there real quiet. I'm casting at these redfish. And from behind me, just erupts out of the water. I scream like a girl, and I throw my pole out. I was like, ah! I tossed it, and I ran back like a girl, right? I look back, and I kid you not, it is a baby manatee. It is it's a little tiny manatee. I had to go dig my pole out of the water, dude. Luckily, nobody was there. It was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah,
but
well, at least you're man enough to tell the story.
it was a trip. You know what? Those sharks will get crazy on you. I had one time, it was way down a little bit, and I was just I was catching trout all day and flounder, tossing them back, and about a 6-foot bull comes along the grass line.
Yeah.
And I got a gulp on. I'm like, just for giggles, you know.
They'll eat it.
I toss it out there. He starts chasing it back. I had to go back up onto the sandbar. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, let that slide, man.
Yeah, you know what I caught a couple weeks ago that was pretty interesting is I accidentally snagged a sawfish.
What?
Yeah, which was really cool. He was about 6
That's a rare fish, too.
Yeah,
So
it
in
was
to
about,
snag it?
Yeah, it was about 6 foot long. I was throwing
On your paddleboard?
No, we were in a
Oh,
skiff.
okay.
But thank God,
Whoa.
because he pulled the skiff 300 yards.
Yeah, they're
before.
dangerous, too.
Yeah. You know, he was about 6 foot long. I snagged him on a little 2,500 and 10-pound test, but I played him out and got him to the boat and safely released him.
Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah, it was awesome. Man.
Wow. Did you get a picture?
Yeah, I got a picture of him in the water.
Oh, man, that is amazing, dude. That's definitely a bucket list item for me. Did you see that picture of that guy that caught? He was down there by you guys, too.
The 14 or 16 footer.
Yeah, when Mike Pence came up.
Yeah, I saw that. That was crazy. That was the weekend after that was caught is when I caught mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a trip, man. What did you snag him with?
I snagged him with a miradine.
No,
I snagged him right in
man.
the dorsal fin.
That's a trip. How do you let them things go, man? I wouldn't even know what to do. You just cut it off as close as you can.
No, I brought him boat side and I grabbed a hold of the tail and got in the water with it and then pulled the hooks out.
What?
Yeah, and then just brought him back.
Savage.
That was annoying. I was in the water with him for, 15, 20 minutes.
That's a trip, man. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure it was a safe release.
Yeah, you're a little more brave than me, man. I don't know if I would have.
I mean, we were only knee deep.
What are the things on that? Like,
they weren't that big. Like I said, he was only about 6 foot over.
Only
foot long,
6 foot?
Total length.
You're not even 6 foot.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely short, and I got T-Rex arms, so.
I suffer from the same problem, too. That's the whole kayak thing, too, man, trying to get your stuff behind you. No.
Yeah, there's no way I could do that.
Yeah, that's a trip. You know, that one story before we get too far off, I thought was funny that you were telling on FishPod TV about the Ikea fishing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Is those canals just filled with tarpon everywhere, or
Well,
what?
there's tarpon, and there's snook, there's big Oscars, peacock bass, there's jaguar, capote, or however you say it. I caught one of those, the first one of those, and he was actually pretty big. I heard a couple people tell me that, most people don't ever catch them that big, so I was pretty excited about that. That was my first one, but yeah, man, you can be down there fishing in the canals in Miami, and there's no telling what you're going to catch.
It's too funny. His wife is shopping in Ikea while he's catching juvenile tarpon out of it. That's it.
You jump a tarpon, and then the next cast you catch a peacock bass.
Yeah.
And then there's largemouth in there too. So.
I would go shopping with my wife all the time if that was the case.
Yeah.
Man. That's
we woke up late, on a Sunday morning, and I was like, hey, you want to go to Ikea? I want to go fish in Miami, and I'll drop you guys off at Ikea, and if you're done at Ikea, you can go next door to the Dolphin Mall.
Right.
And she's like, all right, let's do that. So we loaded up and went down there, and I fished for 4 or 5 hours, and her and the kids went to Ikea and did their thing. So.
Take note, gentlemen. Take note. He's brought it to a new level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody
You offer for them to go shopping, and then you get to go fishing. Genius.
Any body of water down there is going to hold, tons of different species of fish. I really like fishing down there.
Right on.
But my favorite is to fish on the Tamiami Trail from right before you get to the Miccosukee Reservation if you're headed south in the homestead. I like to fish that area, and I throw fly, throw a 4-weight or a 6-weight with a little white fly, and and catch Oscars and Mayan Cichlids and peacock bass and all kinds of stuff. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and the kids go down there. I put rooster tails on their or beetle spins on their little rods and stuff, and they catch fish all day long.
That's awesome.
They're stoked. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, when we went down there, we went with Hai Trong. And it was a real quick morning. We didn't have a lot of time. We were just coming back from the boat show, and he was nice enough to take us out for a short day. And so we get out to the canals. And remember, I've never done this before. I don't know anything about freshwater fish. So we get out there. Every fish that was out there, I'm like, "There's one." He's like, "That's not it.
That's a baby."
Yeah, it wasn't even a peacock bass. I'm like, everything. They could be orange. I'm like, "Yeah, there it is." No. Come over here. But he kind of ruined it for me. Well, I mean, it was great, but I caught a giant one, like my first time for a Florida peacock. He said it was probably around 7-8 pounds or so.
Yeah, the biggest one I've ever caught was 7 pounds.
Yeah, so that was my first one. He's like, "Yeah, you're probably done, man."
Yeah, I've caught tons of 2 to 3 pounders, but
the
biggest one I ever caught was right around 7. Yeah. And Hai's a buddy of mine. He's a great guy. He's a great guide. If you're down there and you want to go fish with somebody, look up Hai. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. You know what? I kind of almost felt like an expert by the time I got out of there, too. He told me so much about peacock bass fishing and everything while I was there. I walked out feeling like I was an expert almost. I caught one.
Yeah, well, store that knowledge because you never know when you might end up back down there.
Oh, man, I'll definitely go again. I think I'd like to go there, and I had brought up a heavier pole. I thought it was a little different. He gave me but I opted to use his lighter pole, and it made it a lot of fun. It was a really cool time. It was weird, though, man, that they were pre-spawn.
Yeah,
and
they had the big knot on their head.
Yeah, and then they kept coming. It would come out, and I'd put my bait there, and he would puff it out of there or tail slap it, over and over and over and over again. Finally, man, he actually put it in his mouth, and I got him. But man, I was like, I've never seen a fish do that ever.
Yeah, the Mayan cichlids and Oscars would do that too. Whenever they're getting ready to spawn or they're sitting on the nest, they're really protective of that nest. And if it's not, obviously they can tell it's not a live fish.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not a live fish, they're gonna just do whatever they can to try to get it away from there. But once you aggravate them enough, they're gonna eat it.
Well, it was a live bait, but he would even barely put it right to there. I knew the hook wasn't in there, but he would just take the tail and escort it just outside and leave it, and then come back. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
He didn't feel it as a threat.
Yeah, but then when he finally got mad, boy, that was a good time. I've always been jealous of that fish that you guys got down there because you have such a diverse one. You can freshwater and saltwater in the same day, all that kind of stuff. That's got to be cool.
Yeah,
man.
And in Fort Myers, we don't have peacock bass right in Fort Myers,
mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of them starting to show up in the Golden Gate canals.
Really?
Yeah. So in a 30-minute ride, you can definitely be down there and looking for them.
Right.
Versus driving all the way to the other side of the state.
That's the first invasive species that nobody thinks is a big problem.
No, because they're too much fun.
Yeah. That's Hai was like, no, we don't want to say invasive. We just say non-native. Let's not be so aggressive about the verbiage.
Yeah, well, FWC actually recognizes them as a game fish now.
They should, man. I'm sure it's bringing in money for the area, tourism and everything. I would go specifically just for that,
Yeah, I want to go fish Lake Ida down there one day. The amount of peacock bass that are in Lake Ida is ridiculous. You can almost walk on them in there. And I've never been able to fish it, but that's definitely on my bucket list.
Man, I just watched this show. These guys went down the Amazon and were catching these. They were insanely big. I don't even know how big they were. Probably like 20 pounds or something.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine that. That's sick.
There's a guy, Randy, that's on the Mojo Pro staff,
mm-hmm.
and he's a guide. But he does a lot of trips to the Amazon. He does 4 or 5 trips to the Amazon a year with his father. And their main target is, giant peacock bass, and he's caught them as big as 24 pounds.
Wow, that's sick, man. That's
crazy.
Insane. I want to do that one day, and I also want to catch a wolffish one day. Have you ever seen them?
No.
They're down in the Amazon as well, and they got these teeth on them. And I saw this guy, what's that guy's name? He used to have a TV, Larry Dahlberg.
Uh-huh.
He went down there, and they were catching them on beef jerky.
Really? Hey, I caught a redfish on a piece of Slim Jim one time.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and he was a schooling
fish.
You
probably thought it was like a little worm or something, huh?
Well, I mean, when you got 40 or 50 fish pushing at you and you throw something in there, something's going to eat it.
They're just going to grab anything that comes by, right? Oh, man.
But what was funny is we were fishing the same school of fish, and I did the beef jerky thing, and a buddy of mine, he threw a paddle tail in there, and out of this giant school of redfish that was in there, he caught the only jack in the whole school. So like 5 years later, I'm fishing the Herman Lucerne, which is a giant tournament in the Keys. It's 5 or 7 species in 2 days.
Cool.
And you got to fish in the Everglades National Park. And we're on tail-in redfish. The redfish bite was really, really tough. We got really lucky to find the fish that we found. I throw in there, a redfish turns, it goes to eat my bait, and a jack comes out of nowhere and eats it and blew all the redfish out. You know, so I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Heartbreaker, man. That's
Never had another shot at a redfish during the trip.
Damn, Jack.
So I was, you know, I'd rag on him forever about that. And then when that happened, I was like, I can't really bust
Karma sucks.
Yeah, I can't really bust you up about that too much now. So
That's too funny. Man, well, I'm looking to get out this weekend. It's looking awesome. And I haven't got to go fishing enough lately because of all this. It took so much to get this up and running. But now that it's done, I actually get to go out, do some fishing. Gonna go. I don't really go offshore very often.
yeah, I don't either. I went offshore last Friday, like we talked about.
Yeah, that's right.
In
With the
TV.
sailfish. How
Yeah.
much? If anybody missed FishPod TV, let's talk about that real quick.
We went 6 for 6 on sales. The biggest fish was in the 80-pound class. All these fish were caught on 20-pound mono.
That's so sick.
Yeah. So
That's so sick.
we got blackfin tuna up to 30 pounds. 4 blackfins. Got a schoolie dolphin, some bonito. Yeah, it was a good trip. You know, good friends of mine that run a charter business at a Bayside Marina down there.
Who is that?
It's Thomas Flyer Charters, Jimbo and Rick Thomas.
Okay. Obviously, they know what they're doing, man. That's a good day for anybody.
Well,
so.
yeah, these guys have they're part of the billfish tagging program.
Okay.
And like that day, we leadered all 6 fish, but two times we had the kites go off with tuna while we had a sailfish boat side. So we would just cut the sailfish loose before we would tag it and let it go to get the tuna to the boat.
Right.
But that day we tagged 4 of the 6, and I have had 2 fish that I've caught in the past with them. I get the little postcard in the mail that the fish has been recaptured, and somebody wrote down the coordinates of it and stuff
like that.
That's really cool. So you know, so we were able to tag 4 more fish like that. But they hold the world record for the most billfish caught, tagged, and released in the Atlantic Ocean.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So they're great guys. You know, it's a trip that I do, you know, a couple of times a year. They've been longtime friends of mine and my family. And but if anybody's looking to go down to Miami and get on a solid bite and have a really good time with some guys, check out Thomas Flyer Charters.
Yeah, man, that speaks for itself, the amount of fish you guys caught. I didn't know they did that, send you something when they recatch them.
Yeah.
Because I tag sharks all the time, man. I hope I get one of those one day. That would be awesome, man.
Yeah, we tagged it. I was part of the Tripletail tagging program a couple years ago, and I caught, tagged, and released 111 tripletail in one season, one stone crab season.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
How many were you catching a trip, or were you fishing every day?
One day we caught 52.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that'll do a pretty good chunk of it right
but
there.
the rest of them were broken up. I mean, like, we were hard at it, like, for 12 hours one day.
Right.
And it just happened to be a really, really good day. We were finding 2 or 3 per buoy.
That's a sick day, man. I don't care what species.
Yeah, my arms were tired.
I bet, man. Jeez, man. That's crazy.
But,
Tom.
you know, tripletail is one of my specialties. I've definitely learned how to feed them.
Right on.
Whether it's, you know, a live shrimp or artificial shrimp or on fly.
Right on.
So my biggest tripletail was 14 pounds, 33 inches.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good one. I caught a tripletail back in the day when I went out with a friend of mine offshore, but I can't remember how big it was. I caught a cobia once, but like my offshore species, I got a big bucket list I got to knock off.
Yeah. I'm looking for that wahoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the wahoo and a yellowfin tuna.
Yeah, all those are on my list. I got to do that. Before we get out of here, fishing's going to be good this coming weekend here. Probably won't even have this up until probably Monday, but we got June coming up and everything. What's your artificial baits that you're using in the summer mostly?
Summertime, I'll go probably with a natural colored or a molting colored gulp shrimp for pitching in the trees on the higher tides or fishing potholes. Other than that, I'll throw a topwater early or when it's overcast. And then I'll fill in like mid-tide on a Mirrodine, just fan casting on flats, unless I see a fish to throw at. You know, I would rather sight fish than anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love that, man. There's nothing better than that. So what's the best way to follow you on Instagram? Is Backwater?
Backwater Cartel, at
Okay.
Backwater Cartel. You can friend request me on Facebook. My name is Craig McMicken, McMicken. Don't forget to like Danco Pliers on Facebook and follow Danco Sports on Instagram.
They have good posts. It's a good. They got great posts, a great feed.
Yeah, and check out the website, dancopliers.com. We have a 30-day no questions asked return policy. We have free shipping.
You won't be returning them, I promise.
And if you have an issue with them, don't hesitate to reach out and shoot an email to us. And if there's an issue, then we'll do our best to resolve it for you.
Yeah, I have a few pairs of them. Been using them for a while, and I think they're great. I've had zero problems, so I recommend them. All right, everybody, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm sure we're going to be seeing you more in the future, so we'll have you back in soon.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, we'll see you in the next one.
All right, bye.
All right, thank you, Craig, for coming and hanging out with me and talking some fishing. I look forward to doing a lot of stuff in the future with Craig. Hopefully get down south and go fishing with him in his waters at some point. So make sure you check him out, Backwater Cartel, Danco Sports. Also, you can check out everything FishPod related on FishPodNetwork.com. Do me a favor. Go to the YouTube channel. Go to the Instagram. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Share. Tell all your friends. You're guaranteed to catch 20% more fish if you do. I'm not lying. I would never lie to you, ever. FishPodNetwork.com. I've got some more podcasts coming here really soon, folks. Some good ones, some good people coming in. So look forward to that here soon. And check out FishPod TV every Thursday at 8. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.